Okay, so I am with Professor Nic Bonne from Portsmouth University, who is kindly joined us for the next Q&A for our VICTA Virtual Science Fair. Nic, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I'm a vision impaired astronomer. I'm originally from Australia, but I moved to the UK about 6 years ago now. And I work in public engagement and outreach. So my job is to take all the exciting research that other astronomers in my university department do and to find ways to basically communicate that to the public. So in a way that everyone can understand.
So being involved in astronomy, there's got to be quite a lot to get involved in and quite a lot to do, especially with your role in engagement. What might an average week look like for you?
So generally, I mean, when we're not under lockdown because of the pandemic, I'd normally be going to schools, talking to students, running workshops, basically getting everybody excited about so science and technology and physics and maths and all of those really cool things. I also run a project at the University of Portsmouth called the Tactile Universe, and the aim of that is to try and find ways to talk about astronomy with people who have vision impairments. So we make tactile models, we do things with sounds. And so a lot of my work also involves working with students who have vision impairments and running workshops that we've put together that use the resources that we've made.
Amazing. And we've got some information of the Tactile Universe on the Science Fair website for anyone to go and have a read of. Could you tell us a little bit more about the workshops and what happens and what people can look forward to if they can get involved in one?
Sure. So when I did my PhD, I focused on galaxies, and so the main focus of the Tactile Universe resources is on galaxies as well, because that's the area of astronomy that I know the most about. But really, the way that all started was because I was trying to work out what would have made my life a little bit easier when I was doing my research. What would have made things more accessible for me. And so we came up with the idea of making these special tactile sort of 3D printed models of galaxy images. And so most of our workshops sort of revolve around those. We talk about all the different things that make galaxies, the different shapes, and give them the appearance that they have. So all the physics going on in the background there. But the cool thing about those workshops is it's something that everyone can join in with. So normally we visit mainstream classrooms that have maybe one or two vision impaired students, and the rest of the students are fully sighted. But everyone works together using the same resources. So it's just a really nice way of bringing everyone in the classroom together and getting everyone working on the same stuff at the same time.
Oh, amazing. And obviously, you mentioned that you're vision impaired yourself. Astronomy is an area that perhaps you'd associate with being quite a visual science, stargazing, and so on. So, could you perhaps tell us a little bit more about how, with your vision impairment, you access the work that you do and how you are able to do what you do?
Absolutely. So, I mean, astronomy is, it's one of those sciences that I think is really, really visual because obviously people think about astronomers looking through telescopes to see the night sky. A lot of that's changed, though, in the last couple of decades. So most of astronomy is digital now. So nobody actually looks through a telescope anymore. The telescope is connected to a camera that takes the images. That's all digitized. And then you can basically use a computer screen to make that image work for you. So you can change contrast, you can change brightness, you can tweak various things in the image to make features sort of pop out more. So if you've got a little bit of vision, being an astronomer is a lot easier. So in my case, I've got really, really close vision. As long as my nose is right up against my computer screen, I can kind of make stuff out. So from a visual standpoint, I get by. Having said that, though, my PhD, the research that I did was mostly dealing with big tables with lots of numbers. So it was doing statistical work and sort of organizing lots of data and pulling out information from that. So I didn't really need to see to do that. I could just understand the numbers, play around with the numbers.
Yeah.
So there are lots of different ways you can do astronomy without necessarily being able to see very much or being able to see anything at all. So yeah.
The advancement in technology has been a massive support with that, I imagine.
Absolutely.
So for any young person who has also got a similar interest in astronomy and actually would like to pursue it as something that's got a serious career, what advice might you give them? As I'm assuming technological advances are only going to make it even more accessible in the future.
They will, absolutely. And I think I mean, the biggest thing is to just be, if this is what you want to do, then do it, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because there will be people who'll say, but you need to be able to see to do this, or you won't be able to do this particular thing, or you won't be able to do this particular thing. I think what you need to do is find the thing that you're good at and prove that you can do it, and be willing to ask for help if you need help, because I know if any of you are like me, you're pretty stubborn, you don't always ask for help and you need it. Things can get pretty rough as a result, but people don't understand what you need. You're the only person who knows exactly what you need. So once you work out how to do something that works for you, communicate that to the people around you and make sure that they're able to support you if they're willing to. I think anything's possible if you can sort of think that way.
I think you're right. That's a piece of advice that's come up quite a lot about being a good advocate for yourself. I think, especially as you get older and going into sort of further education and so on. I think that's a really good note to end on. So thank you very much for joining us for the VICTA Virtual Science Fair.
Absolutely, my pleasure.